Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of State of Quake. As always, I'm Slip.
And I'm Unkind. Thanks for joining us. Now sit back and let's see where this Slipgate takes us. First off, we want to thank everyone who came out to our community give back stream. It was an extreme success in my eyes. We gave over 20 prizes via a raffle and random wheel spins to all the people who came out. It's actually kind of fun, but it was super hard to do all of this stuff at the same time. Like, I have nothing but utmost respect to all of the streamers out there who, can interact with their audience, play the game, and have all of these fun widgets and stuff like that they're messing around with. It was a lot of work. One of the highlights of the evening was that we got to give a Champions Pack away to a player by the name of Alex1. He totally appreciated it. And it was not only the Champions Pack, but he got reliquaries, he gets to play custom games now. So like the benefits of us giving him that, like they just kept on coming. I also want to apologize for my mic during the stream. I accidentally forgot to switch the source from my webcam to my primary microphone, so it will be fixed from now on.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I could have helped you with that rookie mistake there, but I was on a bit of a hiatus. But I do see that we made a Twitch affiliate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like that's like a big goal.
Yeah. That's the first of many goals to come. So now, if you guys want to support us, definitely go to our Twitch channel, hit that subscribe button, or if you want just to donate, either way, we much appreciate it.
Yeah, one of the cool things about becoming an affiliate is you now can have emoticons in your channel. So we're looking at all of the people out there in the community who design those sorts of things. So if you guys have any artists or referrals that you want to send our way, we'll gladly take a look at what they've designed.
Yeah, we want something really unique, something to stand out for that State of Quake brand.
Yeah, and speaking of the State of Quake brand, like what all the graphics that you guys see right now across all of our channels and platforms and stuff like that, that's something I threw together as a placeholder. We're also working on building our brand, so we're looking at artists to help create a logo and anything else that goes along with any of the events or cover art that we have for our podcast. So, Slip. It's been a while, man. We started this podcast off saying that we would release one episode every other week. It ended up being every week for 4 weeks straight. And then all of a sudden, radio silence from you. I couldn't get a hold of you. Can you explain, man, what's been going on?
Hand, foot, and mouth is the simple way to put it. Yeah,
I've heard of that, and I don't want anything to do with it. It apparently has been around for a very long time. Most kids get it, and it's really contagious. I've heard of some stories, and when I heard that you had it, I'm like, oh man, it's gonna take a while for this guy to recover.
Yeah, it's not something you want, and it is. Adults can get it. It's kind of a kid disease, kind of like chicken pox. But yeah, it was pretty bad. If you don't know what hand, foot, and mouth is, just go Google it. Basically, you get blisters all over your hands, feet, inside your throat. In my case, it also swollen one of my testicles. That the doctor told me it's rare, but it can happen. So
TMI, man, TMI.
Well, I'm just passing along to other dads out there or other men that might be around a kid or another adult that has it, just to be careful, because hey, it could happen to you too.
Well, you're feeling better now, right?
Oh yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, just in a slight bit of pain, but other than that, I mean, I'm fine. Like, all the blisters are gone. I can eat and drink now, because before my throat hurt so bad. I lost 10 or 12 pounds in 2 days because I just wouldn't drink or eat anything because my throat hurt so much.
Yeah, it sounds painful.
Speaking of losing weight, though, I know some of you guys out there know that I'm on a keto diet, and with this sickness, which I guess I'm going to count it, I lost 51 pounds total.
Wow, man. Congrats, dude.
Appreciate it. It's hard. There's a lot of food I can't eat anymore, but in the end, it'll be worth it. And also, on another side note, today is my birthday.
Woo! Happy birthday, dude.
Appreciate that. Turned 28, and then with all this sickness going on, I feel like I'm probably just turned 68. So,
Young man, 28.
yeah, I don't feel so young right now.
Wait till you start approaching that 30 ball.
Yeah, well, I'll be 30 in 2 more years. I'm sure those 2 years will fly by. Other things I've been up to besides that, I played some Fallout 76, and I really enjoyed it. So if you are a Fallout fan out there, I highly recommend the game. And
So
go ahead.
before you move on from that, can you explain to me, like, is it like the lore of the game, the look of the game, like what do people like about Fallout in general so much? Because like from my perspective, I started to play Fallout, the last version that was a full game for a while, and I just couldn't like it didn't sink in with me for some reason. And then I also watched a couple of people stream the Fallout 76 beta. And to me, like the two games, they felt almost exactly the same. I didn't see much of a difference between them. So elaborate on that.
I mean, basically, it is Fallout 4, but it's online.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you've played Fallout 4, it feels exactly the same. Pretty much the controls are the same. It's just you're going to be online with your friends, which is about what everybody wants from Fallout. It's like when they made Skyrim, everybody wanted to play Skyrim online. So if you're a big fan of Fallout 4, I think you're going to like Fallout 76.
So did you party up with anyone, or I think from like what I saw is like there's a bit of discovery involved. So like you start off alone, and then you might hear sound cues from like the environment or like people talking or something like that, and you can sort of decide whether or not you want to be friends with them or foes with them, or like how does that work?
I mean, yeah, when you start out, you're going to see other people walking around, especially since it's the beta, and you can have the voice chat on to turn on in your area so you can hear them talk.
Hmm.
Or you can turn it off if you want to, which is what I did immediately because I was playing with some other friends of mine. And basically, we partied up and we went out exploring, doing some quests that they give you, learning the game and craft a lot of things like weapons and armor. Then you can craft your own base and set it up the way you want it. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do in the
So it's a
game.
pretty deep game then.
Yeah. It's all about exploration, RPG type kind of deal. So if you're brand new to the Fallout series, you might want to play the other ones first to see how you like it. Because if you like that, then you're going to enjoy 76 even more.
Well, maybe I'll give it a shot. Now that I know that you're into the game and you know a bit about it, we can blow off some steam outside of Quake with some Fallout or something.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. And the other game I've been playing is Red Dead Redemption 2. So everybody should know what that is. I mean, especially if you played Grand Theft Auto or you played the first Red Dead Redemption. That's a great game too. I like the Western style of the game, like the Western setting.
Hmm.
And it's Grand Theft Auto in Western times. What more do you want?
Instead of carjacking people, you're like horsejacking people.
Basically, I'm tying people up and throwing them on the railroad tracks and watching the train run over them.
Oh wow.
So that's pretty fun. And it's funny because you have some weird glitches sometimes in the game where, like this one dude, he walked up to me in the middle of the street. He starts talking to me, and all of a sudden, a wagon just comes by and runs him over while he's talking to me.
That sounds hilarious. I mean, actually, like those random moments in the game that like you're not expecting to happen. I've seen a couple of clips where like there's people, because like it's like a true open world game, and you're like in the middle of nowhere. So someone was trying to show like how far they could walk off the map, and they found the edge of the map. They sure fell off into like oblivion.
Yeah, it's
Kind of funny.
I'm still waiting for the online to come out with that, but it's going to be fun to get with your friends and rob banks or whatever you want to do. I think it's going to be pretty fun.
So let's get back to some Quake here. Since you've been gone, since we've been gone, let's try to cover some of the things that have happened. We unlocked Athena and the lore skin for people who already had Athena with the Champions pack. So congrats to the community. You guys are
excellent.
Have you seen a lot of people playing with Athena lately?
Yeah, I've been watching Twitch, since I've kind of been bedridden for a while, and I have noticed a lot of people's been dueling with her lately. I guess
She's
as
she's
people,
pretty enjoyable.
yeah, I noticed people were getting more used to her movement with the grapple,
Yep.
and I think that's why she's becoming more of a pick for duel now.
Yeah, with some of the upcoming changes, she's probably gonna be in the new meta for sure, especially for moving around the map.
Did you check the Italian Esports Open?
Yeah, man, that stuff was super exciting. Like again, like another Quake esports event that had the top players to play in general during that tournament, the grand finals. That was crazy. Rafa versus Razy. I think Razy threw him off guard, man. He surprised him. And congratulations to Razy. Spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't watched it, but Rafa only won one map out of the series, and Razy, he basically he beat him two consecutive maps, and there was a match reset because he battled all the way up from the lower bracket, and then he beat him 3-0. So it was pretty convincing.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Rafa maybe went in not fully prepared for that because, like you said, he was already up one because he never lost, so he never went to the losers bracket, and I just think he just wasn't in the right mindset for it. But I mean, either way, it was a great performance with both people, and it was fun to watch.
So we just also wrapped up the Quake Open League over the weekend in the Elite Division. Congratulations to Wenger. I think that's how you pronounce it. But man, I don't know if you caught any of the grand finals for that, but like his rails are absolutely insane. It looked like he was an aimbot, and I just learned that he's only 19 years old. So props to the young crowd, man. Whatever he's doing to get that good at this game, more young people need to get into the game and follow his footsteps.
Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. And speaking of QOL, I thought I would share a little bit of insight with the matches that I played. So the last status that I gave, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to the playoffs. I ended up making it to the playoffs. I split my matches versus Flame and some Parasite, exactly as predicted. And I ended up facing XBio in my first round of the playoffs. And man, that dude can play. I had made some predictions before the match even started. I said, all right, this guy is going to ban Visor and he's going to pick Veil of Nath for his map. So like those things happen, and I'm like, great. Now what do I do? Because he's a great player in general. So I just tried my best to roll with the punches, and like his aim was incredible, and he completely destroyed me on Veil of Nath. So like I've been on this quest ever since losing the map to him because he beat me like so bad. I basically grinded that map because it is my worst map, and even Slip can beat me on that map. That's how bad I am. So like that was just like a given like one loss for the entire QOL playoffs for me. And then I picked Blood Covenant because I'm pretty comfortable on that map, and most of the exchanges that happen are pretty predictable. And lo and behold, he knows some tricks that I've never experienced. Like he spawned at the nail gun. And this is a tip for anybody who is sort of a rush down player. If you grab the nail gun and run straight for the LG, you're going to catch the player running to go up the bounce pad to get Mega. More often than not, they're not going to expect it, and you can spam nails and most likely get a kill out of it. And that's what he did against me. So like that was the very first thing that happened during one of the rounds, and I was not expecting it, and it set the tone for the rest of the map, and I felt like I was running away the entire time. So anyway, not to put him on too much of a pedestal, he ended up making it to the grand finals for the Challenger edition. No, the Challenger group against Duke. But he ended up losing. So like it makes me feel better that like I lost against somebody who made it to the finals. Duke, congrats on winning October QOL, and yeah, that's it for that.
Yeah, I think eventually I guess I need to start getting into duel again. We talk about QOL that I don't have much to say because I don't really duel anymore.
The problem with QOL, especially like this month, like one of the days for matches was on Halloween. People were complaining about it. This month, there's holidays this month. And there's going to be a lot of people traveling. So like I'm expecting not a lot of people to actually participate, including myself. I think the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, there's a round of matches for the groups.
Yep.
There's probably something right after that. So I've already decided I'm not even going with stressing myself out trying to play a few hours of Quake for the Quake Open League. I'll put it on pause.
Yeah, I feel like that this month and maybe in December.
Oh yeah, that's going to be difficult too.
Depending on when it falls. I know Christmas is on a Tuesday, but it's still possible. People are still doing stuff that week, depending on if a match falls that week or not. We might not see as many players signing up for that.
Yep. So what else is going on? Oh, my mouse. I decided to ultimately return the Logitech G305. It just was not my thing. And I know Slip and D-Ron, they said that they highly recommend the G403.
Yep.
And they've done some modifications to it, so we'll see if that can beat out my Razer Basilisk. Because as of right now, it's a keeper. Like I said, I like this. I don't care how heavy it is. I don't care what the shape is. The little sniper trigger, I use that for slash movement. I bound it to my crouch key. And up until me getting this mouse, I wasn't able to play with slash. So my warm-up routine is, playing a couple of rounds with slash, sliding around the map, zipping around. She's actually a really good character, really fun to play. So if you haven't tried her out, like if you need something to change up, your daily flow of Quake, just try to learn slash. It'll bring back a lot of fun into the game if you're not having it.
Just wait for the 403, sir. All that'll change when your aim is better.
Speaking of aim is better, the other night I decided to. I was watching some people on Twitch stream, and I happened to be watching Sib. And I was watching, I'm like, man, like, why does everything feel like it's in slow motion on his stream? And like his aim just felt impeccable. Someone in the chat said that, it might have been because of his FOV. And I believe his FOV was at 115 or 110. Just to give a reference, my FOV is 125. So like if you can imagine the difference in 20 points of difference for field of view, it can make a huge difference in what you actually see with the game. So I've tried to lower my FOV, but going along with lowering your FOV, you have to change all of your settings to go along with that. So I didn't even know where to start. So I just copied all of his setting down and, I decided to jump in the game and try it out for a few hours. And it was a fun experiment. Let's just say that I went back to my old setting because I don't know. It, like I said, I felt like I was getting a little complacent with my setting. I thought it would push me over the hump. A day in the life of Sib, the experiment is over.
I mean, it's always good to mess around with your settings sometimes because you might find something you never would have tried and like it better. And then sometimes you're like, okay, this is garbage for me, so I'm not going to use this anymore. So it's always a good thing to try new things once in a while. Just see what you think.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's just that like I did a set of duels and I just didn't seem to get as accurate of rail and LG as I wanted. And the second I switched back to my old settings, I started winning. I know it takes a long time to get used to new settings, but like if I'm already good enough with my current setting, there's no point in trying something else out.
Speaking of changes and settings, I think we need to get down to the nitty gritty of this podcast.
I know you're dreading it, but like, so we have a new public test server patch out. And when they made the announcement, I think a lot of people, their jaw dropped because there were breaking changes across the board. They decided to nerf all damage dealing ability. So like it feels like a completely different game. That's why we called this episode Quake Champions 2.0, because to some people, like it's gonna feel like a completely new game and they're gonna have to relearn things that they're used to doing. I don't know. What are your thoughts about it overall?
Overall, besides one big major flaw, everything else feels pretty good. I did notice my frames were a lot better in the PTS. I don't know if that has to do with the servers or something else they've done with PTS, but it felt smoother on my end compared to the live version.
Yeah, they always have performance improvements across the board. They're really not able to detail out what they do to improve performance, but that's something that the developers are trying to improve as they release new patches. So I'm glad your frame drops seemingly have gone away.
Yeah, I still need to play the live server since I've been away. I haven't got back on the live server yet to give it a test. Maybe something else has changed, but just gotta hope for the best.
Yeah. So let's have a little chit chat around, some of the highlights of the patch. There were quite a few like quality of life things that people have been asking about. Have you tried out the centered weapon?
I tried that out before when the certain skins were centered, and I didn't care for it. Like with the centered lightning gun, oh my god, I hated it. If I don't like the LG, and LG is one of my main weapons, I'm probably not gonna like the other things.
I hear you.
I mean, I might try it eventually, but for now, I'm just gonna leave them where they are.
I can tell you, like, it feels like a completely different game because, like, it's not just like shifting the weapon from the position from the right to the center. Like, it actually changes the perspective of the weapon. Some of the weapons they look and feel like a little weird. So I tried it out just to see what things look like, and I actually went back to exactly how it was before. However the artists and the developers meant for the weapons to be, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I feel like, the people who they enjoy the centered weapons, like the centered rocket and the centered LG, they'll probably like all their weapons centered across the board, but, I didn't like the LG centered, so I probably wouldn't like the rocket. I probably wouldn't like the railgun, so I just never bothered with it.
So you know how they added custom outline colors for the characters or whatever? I think they did something to improve like how that looks across all the characters. Whatever they did, it's amazing. Like I feel like the colors pop and it really highlights like that customization. What color do you have your enemy outline set to?
I got mine set to that neon green because back in the day in Quake 3, I had everybody as neon green tank juniors, so it just seemed like the best choice for me.
Yeah, mine is like greenish yellow actually, and then I have for my ally colors gray, so that they just like blend in with the environment.
I think mine might be blue. I can't remember on the ally part. I think it might be blue.
Either way, I'm just glad that they added it because I know for some people, like it, especially in a game where they don't want to tone down the details and keep it as beautiful as possible, like they needed to add something like that for the enemies to stand out.
Yeah, I think it's just their way of forced enemy models like they had in Quake 3. This is their way of making it the closest to that.
So before you even get into the PTS, did you have to play a bunch of matches with the bots?
No, I just played customs.
Okay, gotcha. Well, if you do, you'll notice that the bots now have like a fake king. It's hard to distinguish between who's a bot and who's not.
I wonder if they did that to try to make you think, oh, is this a real player, to give you more confidence, or is it a way for them to try to give more of an advantage against a bot?
Oh yeah, you never know if like the ping actually affects like their artificial intelligence and aim and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would affect them on the server side, just like a real player.
Yeah, that is a good point. Some of the other things that I noticed that were kind of nice touches, when you win a match, the victory podium or whatever they show, the characters they're not just standing there still anymore. They actually have little bits of animation that go along with them. I'm a big fan of my Doomslayer. He kicks his shotgun up into the air, catches it.
Yeah, it's always good when they add, a few little cosmetic changes. Some people might not take much notice to them, but I mean, it gives you a little bit of extra flair in the game. It's always nice to have.
Yeah, the devil is in the details.
And I think one of the biggest changes, though, as far as champ-wise, is they made a universal cooldown time now. Everybody has a 45-second cooldown.
Yeah, I think that was a good move, to be honest with you. Like, some of the champs, that was a buff, and some, it was a nerf. But I think by them unifying the cooldown, that opens up a whole lot of possibilities inside the game.
Well, I think it adds more of a strategy to the game now, because now you have to time your opponent's ability on top of everything else, because now that you know that's 45 seconds,
you
can kind of time it, sort of. I mean, obviously you got time vials, but I mean, you can sort of say, okay, well, roughly he'll have his ability back around this time, give or take some, because of time vials.
Yeah, if you're dueling someone, a strategy could be that you use your ability, take up all of the time vials, and get them to pop their ability, and they don't have anything on the map to restack up, and you'll have the advantage there.
Yeah, and another thing I like they changed is how blood pools and health pickups remove debuff effects. Like if you're burning with Death Knight, or if you got the poison from Sorlag, that automatically negates the damage now.
Yeah, that was sorely needed. Like I hated basically getting hit with the flames, running to a health bubble just to get my stack up, and I'm still losing health. So I'm like trying to look for another health bubble. The burning lasts forever.
Yeah, I know a lot of people complained about that, where the burning would take up most of your screen, and even if you got direct spit from Sorlag, it was kind of the same deal where you couldn't see for a few seconds.
And also, yeah, don't forget, Galena's totems will also remove debuff effects. So basically, anything that will give you health will remove those effects. So if you have trouble seeing when you get spit on or flames, just run for one of those three things, and you'll be healed.
I mean, I think it adds another depth to the game, to where like if you're playing the Death Knight with a Sorlag, you kind of want to set your traps as far away from health bubbles and blood pools as you can.
Oh yeah, because it would automatically negate it if you're just like, for instance, on Blood Covenant, that center area. If you put the flame strike right there, it just completely negates it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they're adding more layers to the game that you kind of have to think about, which for some people that's a good thing, some people it's a bad thing.
I love how much dimension Quake Champions has. It just keeps on going and going and going.
And it looks like another change they made for the guys who play Instant Gib. Damage abilities aren't insta kills anymore.
That was really needed. Like the peeker and the clutch, cheap asses. Like I can't tell you how many times like I'm barely winning an insta give match, and I see somebody just to catch up switch to clutch or to Strog and peeker and just get a whole bunch of kills just to catch up. Like it's not fair.
Yeah, Strog and peeker was probably definitely the most OP, I think, out of the bunch, because if you didn't take that picker down, they were going to get like 5 or 6 kills before it got destroyed easily.
Yeah, especially on a map like the Longest Yard, where it's like open air.
Yeah.
So what else here? Eisen. Like up until this episode, everything has been sort of speculation on him. I know I've been playing a lot with Eisen. I've incorporated him into my lineup for Duel and played some TDM with him. I think he is another force to be reckoned with, especially in Duel.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree with that, because I noticed when I was playing PTS, his turret was a big distraction if you're playing against him, because you're trying to focus on eyes, and if he throws out a turret, well then now you're getting hit with that too. So you got to decide: am I going to go for eyes, or if I want to go for this turret? 9 times out of 10, you're going to die in that fight.
Yep. I actually used it. So here's some of my strategy. I'm giving it away if you don't already do these things with Eisen. But the places where you would normally place a totem, place that turret, it can sort of act like a totem, because somebody coming through a teleport they won't see it. It'll be behind them, and it'll have enough time to lock on and hit them for a few hits. That, and you get the information that they've actually went through that area. It's a good strategy, I think.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of people did like the jump pad deal, because it just bounces up and down, up and down, up and down.
I don't know. Someone said that it was kind of cheap, but if anything, it makes it really easy to hit because you know where it's going to be.
I think they'll eventually fix that, though. If you throw out a jump pad, it'll make it to where either it'll stick to the bottom of the jump pad or the top, one of the two. I don't think they're going to keep that around. I think they'll eventually make it stick somewhere.
Yeah, and that thing is tough. Like, it's not, you can't rail it in one shot or hit it with one rocket. You have to hit it with 2 rails, 2 rockets, 3 tri-bolts. It has 120 hit point.
Yeah, it's almost like fighting another champ, which I think in the long run, they're going to probably nerf that down.
You think so?
I mean, I guess it just depends. We'll have to see how the meta goes with him, but I got a feeling they're going to probably maybe make it like a one direct rocket kill or one rail kill.
I don't know. That thing, especially close up, is tough. So like, if it's far away, chances are it's not gonna hit you unless you're standing still. But the closer the turret is to you, the easier it is gonna be for it to hit you. So if you're trying to run up to it and do a shotgun blast to get rid of it, you're gonna most likely miss, and it's just gonna light you up. I've made that mistake plenty of times actually already.
Yeah, and I can also already see the exploit like in Slipgate where you got 4 Eisens on a team. That's just ridiculous.
or if you get like the quad damage, that thing it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that the turret got quad damage or protection if you picked it up. I didn't think they were going to do that.
They do with Peeker, so
Yeah,
might as well.
That's true. I feel like Eisen will have a few changes here or there.
That's all he has, though. One thing that I know, I hope that they do change or like add some sort of a mechanic behind is when you throw the turret out. Like, what's your first instinct, that the turret's going to be facing what you're facing or facing you? Because if you throw it out in the middle of a fight, it's facing you. It's not. I've been in a couple of situations where I'm expecting it to lock onto my opponent, and it actually doesn't until my opponent starts shooting it for a little while. But either way, it's a good distraction, and like you said, it's basically a light champion.
Yeah, and that they might have made that intentional with the throw out. Like when you throw it out, that it doesn't immediately lock on. That could be something the designers did to kind of not make it like overly powerful, where it locks on you immediately and just destroys you.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is like, if I'm in the middle of a fight, I'll do a quick 180, throw it, and then follow the fight again, just to mitigate that.
Another big change they did that we noticed was the LG.
Oh wait, there's one other thing about
the
turrets. The bots, they currently ignore the turrets. So like, if you have a turret on the map, they'll completely walk past it and get lit up by it. So that's another thing I hope they change. But yeah, we can move on.
Yeah, the LG change.
Yeah, that's polarized the community quite a bit.
I know a lot of people's been giving a lot of negative feedback to it. I mean, for me, it's more of the sound change, because I know they made it very similar to the MG DPS, so it doesn't tick. It's like a slower tick rate, so it feels like you're not able to track your opponent with it as much.
Yeah, so they increased the tick from 7 to 10, but they increased the amount of time that it takes in between each tick. And their reasoning behind it, like I get it, but I feel like it was like sort of put in duct tape on something to fix it. They said that it creates less sound, less server draw, like a couple of things that I don't know. Like, they could have done other things to try to fix that specifically. I honestly think that they're not going to go live with that LG. There's absolutely no way that they can go live with that exact version. But at the same time, there's no way that they can go back to the one that we currently have in the live build. I honestly think that there's going to be some sort of a middle ground. What do you think?
I mean, I personally, I thought the LG felt pretty decent to me. I mean, I could still melt people with it, so it didn't bother me that much. So if it went, good.
The pushback, I think, is what people are complaining about most. The pushback and like the sound, it doesn't sound like it's doing a lot of damage, and because it doesn't do the damage as fast as it used to, it doesn't knock people back, or they're not able to float people in the air. That's like the biggest problem I think people have.
Well, I understand the juggle part of it, because it's like when you fight a Doomslayer, the LG is your best weapon you can use. As for the knockback, where especially if somebody's shooting you in the back with the LG and it just pins you against the wall, that to me, I can give or take that personally. I know it's old school Quake. I know that's how Quake's always been, but I think with this change, it comes down, you're going to have to be more accurate with it and not just pin somebody up against the wall. That's how a lot of people do that sometimes. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to juke and therefore, since you don't have all of that sound information to like basically like whip your mouse around to catch them, we both use LG quite a bit. And if we're fine with the changes, I think most people they should hop on that train too. Like I realize it's not the same. People don't like change. I'm fine with it.
I mean, overall, I'm fine with the change. If they want to make it to the live version of this, that's fine with me. I'm not gonna, complain about it that much because, like I said, it takes a little bit getting used to. But I quickly got used to the change and kept playing like I normally do. So I'm with you. I feel like give it a chance, keep playing with it, and you're going to do probably just as good as the old LG, in my opinion.
So moving on from the LG, they also nerfed the Rocket quite a bit. One of the most noteworthy changes was they reduced the speed of it by another 100. I actually like this change. I'm actually able to aim my air rockets a bit easier. I wasn't able to do that before.
Yeah, same here. I like the change. To me, it's fine. I know some people wanted the change like this anyway, and I'm with you. Air rockets are a lot easier to hit, and I think overall that change will stick for sure. I haven't really seen much complaints on that part.
Yeah, and they reduced the splash radius for the rocket, and I believe the tri-bolt as well. They didn't really touch any of the starting weapons or any of the other hit scan weapons, as far as I know. So let's talk a bit about some of the champs and the changes that hit them. The ones that got hit the hardest, I guess. We'll get to your ranger in a little bit, but let's talk about my man BJ. Not only did they nerf his dual wield, but they nerfed his voice too, man. Like I realized that Brian Bloom is the original voice actor for him, and there was some impersonator. Like, to be honest with you, like they sound pretty similar to me.
Yeah, I thought it was the original guy, to be honest.
My problem with the new voice actor is that he's literally whispering. Like I cannot hear him. They need to do something so that, like, I don't know if it's part of his character to like always be whispering or on the edge of death or whatever, but like you can't hear anything. I can't hear any of the voice lines in the game.
Well, I think that gets rid of the old.
The meme is probably gonna die, people. It was great to hear at QuakeCon, and I'm sure there's tons of emoticons out there, Reddit memes, but like, man, if they bring one thing back, it has to be that. They gotta do it somehow, some way. But yeah, like he got hit really hard with his dual wield. Like you have to wait a second before you can even shoot, so you can't surprise anyone with it. And then all of the weapon, every single one of them, including the LG, got a rate reduction, and it just feels weird. Like he is not that rushdown character anymore. If you pick BJ, you're gonna have to play a completely different style to be successful.
Well, to be fair, I feel like he's going to be more of a trap champion now. You're not going to be able to really use it in a mid-fight as much as you used to, because you got to figure if you can set the trap up with him, even with the reduced LG, because it only went from 1.45 to 1.25, so he still does pretty good damage. I mean, even with that nerf, if you just trap him just right, I mean, he's still going to be a force to reckon with. You just got to play with him a little differently.
Yeah. I actually tried to play with him in my lineup, BJ, Ranger, and Nyx as my dual lineup, and I called them the Suicide Squad because I had no business playing like three of the most nerfed characters in the BTS against someone, and it started off really bad because I fell back to old habits, but I was able to change up my play style and actually win. And I actually got an orb kill.
Yeah.
So it's possible, people. It is possible.
Speaking of the orb kill,
to be honest with you, that's where I thought you went. Like you heard that Ranger got nerfed on the BTS, and he's like, I can't play this game anymore.
Yeah,
That was the last I heard of Slip.
it came pretty close to having to uninstall Quake Champion because I just lost a lot of faith in him. My
uh,
man Ranger, I mean, I don't know. I feel like overall the champs now, the abilities, I know they're still usable, but at this point, you should just make a whole separate game mode and just do no abilities, like no ability, rank duel, and all that stuff, because now the abilities are taking more of a back seat, which I know some people like that. It's all about the weapons, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but man, Ranger now he's just got to the point to where
think of it as a finisher now. So like you're in the middle of a fight and you want to guarantee a kill. You basically have to be paying attention to how much damage you're doing to someone. You could still telefrag people.
I mean it's possible. I mean I've done it too. It's just you got to get them so weak now. They got to be on their last leg, and even then you still got to hit that telefrag radius just right.
Yeah, they nerfed him pretty hard. Like not only did they take the guaranteed telefrag away, but they also, he got nerfed from the 25-second cooldown all the way up to the unified 45-second. So like when you combine those two, Ranger, he got hit pretty hard, and it's mostly like that, agility ability to get around the map. And not even that often anymore. Like he still has his rocket jumps that he can use at reduced damage. I think that's a great passive ability to have, but I do think like compared to some other champions, they hit him pretty hard. So what would you compromise to make the orb great again? Because they're not gonna bring back that instant telefrag stuff.
Well, either one, bump up the telefrag damage a little bit. I know 8,000 was excessive, but even at 8,000, we weren't always guaranteed that telefrag. It's not like anybody could just jump in the game, hit the F, press F, and get that telefrag. But it went from 8,000 to 75. That's a huge jump. I would say at least bring that to 100, at least. If
Yeah, I agree
not,
with that.
if not, I think Rangers should maybe get 2 orbs, kind of like how certain champs have multiple, like Kill has
Charges.
charge like Kill's got his grenades. Athena's got her rappels, because the orb is so weak now.
So do you think that if he was given 2 orbs, let's just say hypothetically, how much damage should they do with the telefrag?
I mean, even at 100, even at 100, you might get the kill still. It just depends on who you're playing against. I mean, and plus it depends on because they could, if they do double orbs, they might say, well, you got to have like a second or two, between each orb.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I think with 2 orbs, I think whether if it stays at 75 or 100, that telefrag radius is so tight still, it's not going to make much of a difference with this huge nerf.
Speaking of telefrags, have you gotten everything out that you wanted to about Ranger?
Yeah, I mean, basically he's just going to be a backseat character now. So I mean, until they make a compromise, I think that's just where he's going to be for now.
Yeah, we'll just have to see where he ends up. Speaking of telefragging, Nyx, like it was already really difficult for her to telefrag someone. I think that her telefrag should still remain as the one that does the 8,000 damage. It is very difficult to telefrag somebody with Nick. Now it's not even worth trying to telefrag someone with her ability. They've also nerfed her ability so that you can't really surprise people as well as you used to, and be aggressive. Like you almost have to use it in desperation to get away only, because they added that it's only a half second, but that little bit of a delay is enough to allow your opponent to react. And I know that was one of your biggest complaints.
Well, I think overall this patch, or this PTS, I think it's all going towards being more passive. I think a lot of people have been complaining about this plus forward mentality, which to be fair. I don't know why. Because, I mean, you either do this, you either adapt to the plus forward of your opponent or plus forward as well. I mean, you fight fire with fire or you adapt yourself. So to me personally, I don't understand the big deal, but just
Some
me.
people don't want to be aggressive.
Well, I mean, so maybe if you don't want to be aggressive, then you have to adapt, to the guys being the aggressor. If you play against enough people that's being aggressive, you're going to have to adapt it. And I think with this patch, though, they're forcing people to play more passively. Because like you said, with Nyx, you can't go to Ghost Walk and then immediately come out and kill people. Which I'm fine with that because I hated Nyx anyway because of that that particular point. I always thought they needed to do something with her ability, and this is a good compromise. I've always thought that she should have some type of nerf, whether it be like pulse fading, like where she pulses in and out, or something like that. So like I think with this half second it helps because like I said, it adds another layer to the game to where now with these abilities not doing much damage or not being so offensive, you got to think about your steps ahead when you use these abilities.
Yeah, I think that's the key is you got to think. You got to think now. You can't just hit a button and use it as a crutch. That's the biggest thing the biggest theme that I'm noticing about this PTS build. I like it. I personally like it.
I'm going to wait to see what they do with the live build, see what they take from it, go from there. I mean, overall, and it is what it is. I'll have to just play it a little bit differently, and I don't play enough duel to really have a huge opinion on the champs because most people when they do these changes they compare. Okay, well how is this champ going to play in duel now? Because like team games, it doesn't. I don't think it affects you quite as much, where with duel, that's how a lot of people compare, either buffs and nerfs of these champions.
So yeah, that you bring up a good point. I think that these changes have a bigger effect on the overall game than they do with duel in general. At one point, they changed everything around so that the weapons were more accurate, they did more damage, and the fights were very short. We're getting longer fight with these changes, and I think that that's sort of a good thing, especially for newer players. Like they're not going to get killed as quickly. They'll have more of a fighting chance to survive.
I think a lot of the changes, like I said, to go back to what I said before, is comes down to duel. I think a lot of this game is being built around duel. And I mean, I understand that's the biggest thing people like to watch and things like that. But, I'll go back, I'll say it 1,000 times. I bought this game to play. I didn't buy this game to watch duel constantly. Hey, if you like watching duel, I'm not bashing it. Hey, it's whatever you want to do. I like watching it once in a while, but I don't think the game should be built around what we watch. It needs to be built around what we play.
Yeah, I agree with
that's
that.
just, in my opinion. I know some people probably a lot of people are going to disagree with it, but
I mean, granted that the esports is only like 1% of this game. Like the people who play it on a daily basis, every single day, like that are not pro players. That is true. Like it should appeal to the crowd and not just the pros. They compete in the game, but they should be able to compete in the game with the same game as the casual players.
Overall, I think people play the game more and watch the game less. Let's put it that way.
That sounds like a good philosophy to have. That's for sure. I think that this is probably in preparation for some of the modes that are to come. I think that if we had a capture the flag that was heavily reliant on abilities, people would give up on it. The same goes for another mode that people have been calling for, Clan Arena. I think that's why everyone is more unified. That's why those abilities that do damage do less damage. I think that's going to have a huge effect on those team-based modes like that.
I just feel like with the champs with what the game was set out to be, with different champs, with different abilities, the team game would have more of a dynamic if it kind of went back to if it kept to the live patch now with a couple changes. But I feel like now some of the champs they're just kind of fading out to being the same.
What they did is they did a lowest common denominator. They've been doing this over the last several patches by unifying the stack, now by unifying the cooldown, unifying the speeds, all of those things, and now they're sort of just like, all right, the thing that we can tweak to make these champions different from one another is they still have their abilities, but they now just do less damage. And those are the things that they're probably going to tweak up and down. That's probably what's going to happen. But we're just guessing. Who knows? Who knows who's right, who's wrong? Who do you think? So like with all of the new changes to all the champs, some of the champs haven't been touched at all. Who do you think the new meta is going to be?
With the new dual, like if we're talking about dual meta,
dual 2v2, like you can pick whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, Visor's always going to probably be in the meta regardless. Eisen, I could definitely see he's going to be more of a pick.
So Doomslayer basically got a buff, or was relatively untouched. Visor got a buff because his cooldown was reduced. I agree with you with the Eisen. Athena, I think, is really strong. Some of the heavier champs, I think, are going to be used a bit less. I think you're going to see a resurgence of the lighter champs because they're harder to hit.
Yeah, I think overall this patch is, like you said, it's unifying the champs for the most part, and it's kind of trying to toss the meta out the window to where you can pick pretty much any champ and just be good with them. Just depends on how you play them and what you're comfortable with. That's basically, I think that's what they're going towards.
So if you were to summarize the things that we've covered, what would you got any parting words of wisdom?
Well, like we said, Ranger's garbage now.
That's your parting words, is Ranger's garbage?
No, I wouldn't say he's garbage. I say overall, the patch is going into a very different direction than what they've been as far as like huge nerf at one time. But I guess we'll just have to see where the game goes from here. I'm hoping, with the next patch, CTF comes out so we can kind of see how these changes affect that game mode, and we'll see if it's any good.
We'll have to, once the patch drops in the next couple of days, they might like do a second pass at PTS before they actually make it go live. Who knows? They don't really communicate with us very well. But we want to thank you guys again so much for supporting the podcast and supporting us on our Twitch channel that we're dearly trying to grow. Like we said before, we became an affiliate finally. We set up a donation page. If you want to support this podcast, you can go to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/stateofquake. You could watch us play some games, interact with you. Make sure that you at least drop us a follow there. If you really want to, you can subscribe now. But mostly, we just want to interact with you guys. So we love hearing the comments on the videos, on the podcast, on SoundCloud, in Twitch, on Discord, all of the places. It brings a smile to my face when somebody brings up the podcast. I'm always really interested in where people discover us, and it's the greatest feeling. It's motivating.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely why I regretted not being able to record last week because of this sickness I had. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again anytime soon, so we can keep pumping these out for you guys. And I know one of our friends said that we're like the inside edition for Quake, so it's always good to hear things like that.
So with that, everyone, we'll see you in the arena.
Keep on fragging. GG's.
GG's.